Greetings, boys and girls. It is now time for Math Workshop. We're having fun learning math today. Math today is fun. We learn from our success. We learn from everyone. We're having fun learning math today. Math today is fun. We learn from our success. We learn from everyone. We're learning to think. Think today. Thinking today is fun. Thinking helps solve problems. Solving problems helps everyone. We're learning to think. Think today. Thinking today is fun. Thinking helps us solve problems. Solving problems helps everyone. Boys and girls, can you help me read our learning target for today? I can partition a circle and a rectangle into equal shares. Great job, boys and girls. Let's review our vocabulary words. Remember, partition means to cut or to separate. Equal means the same as. Notice how these pie slices are all equally sized. That means they are the same size. Remember, when a shape is not partitioned, it's called one whole. When it's partitioned into two pieces, we call that two halves. Because it's cut in half, just like you would cut an orange or an apple in half. So you have two halves. This circle is cut into fourths, and we call it 4/4. This rectangle is cut into thirds, and we call it 3/3, because there are three equally sized pieces. Let's look at our homework from yesterday. This is Mayan's work. He did a great job. Remember, the directions said describe the equal parts. Write 2 halves, 3/3, or 4/4. For number 1, your answer should have been 2 halves. If you got that answer correct, give yourself a star. Number 2, the shape was partitioned into 4 equal parts, so your answer should be 4/4. Number 3, the shape was partitioned into 3 equal parts, so your answer should be 3/3. Number 4, the circle was partitioned into 3 equal parts, so your answer should be 3/3. For number 5 and 6, it says draw lines to partition each shape. For number 5, you are to partition this shape into 2 equal parts. And in order to make 2 equal parts, you just need 1 line, splitting it in half. Your line can go straight up and down, vertically, or across, horizontally, as long as it's 2 equal parts. And number 6 says to partition your shape into 4 equal parts. I love the way Mayan drew a line vertically and a line horizontally so that he would have 4 equally sized partitioned shapes. Great job, Mayan. Let's review, boys and girls. Is each shape or figure partitioned correctly? Let's explain. Number 1, can you find the shapes that are partitioned correctly? Point to them. That's right, the first shape is partitioned correctly because we have 2 equal parts, and the last shape is partitioned correctly because we have 4 equal parts. Look at the second shape. Is this partitioned correctly? No. The parts are not equally partitioned. This slice is a lot larger than the right-hand slice. What about this shape? Is this shape partitioned correctly? No, it's not. The shapes on the inside of the shape are not the same size. What about number 2? can you point to the shapes that are partitioned correctly? That's right, the first shape has equal parts, second shape has equal parts, and the third shape has equal parts. But what about the fourth shape? No, these are not equally sized partitioned shares. So we can't circle the last shape. Let's look at number 3. Can you point to the shapes that are partitioned correctly? Yes, just the first shape. The other 2 shapes do not have equally sized parts. Now let's look at number 4. Can you point to the shapes that are partitioned correctly? You got it. It's the first and the last shape. Very good, because each of these shapes have equal sized parts, but the rectangle in the middle does not. Great job, boys and girls. Now let's use this rectangle to answer the question. How would the whole of the rectangle be described? Well, let's see. I see a rectangle, that's the whole rectangle, and it's partitioned right here into 2 equal parts. So how would we describe the whole rectangle? Is this 1/2, 2 halves, or 2 rectangles? Well, we know it's not 1/2 because I see 1, 2 equal parts. Is it B, 2 halves? Yes. So far, it looks like that's the answer. But remember, we need to look at all of the answer choices before we pick the best answer last. So we'll leave B alone. And look at C, 2 rectangles. No, these are not 2 rectangles. It's 1 rectangle partitioned into 2 equal parts. So it can't be C. That means the best answer is B. Great job. Now, can you help me? Which model shows 3/3 shaded? Remember, shaded means colored in. And we want to figure out which model shows 3/3. Is it A, B, or C? Take a moment to decide. That's right, boys and girls. It's not A because only 1 part is shaded. It's not B because only 2 parts out of all 3 parts are shaded. So it is C. We have 3 parts shaded out of 3 partition parts. So this is the figure that shows 3/3. Boys and girls, let's review what we've learned today. Partition means to cut or to separate or divide something. And equal means the same. Remember, when a figure is not partitioned, we call it one whole. When it's partitioned into 2 parts, we call the whole shape 2 halves. When a shape is partitioned into 4 parts, we call the whole shape 4/4. And when a shape is partitioned into 3 parts, we call the whole shape 3/3. Now it's time for you to have fun with math. First, I want you to work in your My Math Workbook, Volume 2, and complete pages 779 to 780. After that, take a picture and send it to Mrs. Hefner. And maybe your work will be featured on tomorrow's video. After that, have more fun with math using MobyMax or Freckle. See you next time.